Well, that was a quick opening, Thomas. Went a little bit quicker than I expected there, but hey, we're here nonetheless.
We are here.
We had a pretty good week last week at wherever we did our picks. I forget from week to week, Thomas. But I do remember we did pretty good. We had some winners across the board, so that was a
we were in Ireland.
Yes, the Curragh. Yes,
pick the winners at the Curragh for the Irish Guineas.
Yes, we did. We did do that.
We were 2 days. We did Saturday and Sunday, and we're doing 2 days this week.
Well, you're doing 2 days this week because I couldn't find really anything on the race in France, so that's on you.
The Racing Post had stuff posted on Sunday for the for Shanti.
That's okay. You can handle it. You're on top of the Shanti stuff. Plus, my pronunciations for all that French stuff aren't the best, and you have that. You have that down pat.
I'm learning, and I used to work for a French company, so that helps a little.
That helps probably a lot more than any kind of culture I have. So we're going to go off to Epsom Downs in, where is that? In Tottenham. Is that where that is? Surrey, something like that. Yeah, there you go. So the Spurs, right? That's what they're called. The Spurs, the Tottenham Spurs, the soccer team.
Yeah, they are the Spurs.
Home of Keane, right? The guy who missed the penalty shot.
Schneider is the owner who owns the Washington Commanders.
Oh, he also owns that soccer team?
No, the football team. He owns the Spurs too.
And Harry Kane plays there, right?
Yep.
Yes.
Well, we'll see how long. Much longer.
All right. So the weather there is pretty nice.
It's
66 degrees, and sunny. Going to be sunny. Going to stay sunny. According to the weather forecast here on Google, and we know Google's never wrong about anything.
It was a lovely day today with the racing there for the Oaks Day, and it was some interesting things happened, and pretty much to form for the most part.
Well, you'll be able to share some of those observations in terms of running style as we make our way through the Epsom card. The highlighted race of the day is the Epsom Derby, which is, I think, the middle of the British Championship Series. It's also, I think what I read on Wikipedia, the richest of the turf flat races in England. Is that correct?
Yes, it is the richest race.
Yeah, and it is part of the 5 races in their championship series. Otherwise, they're triple crown, but it can't really be a triple crown with 5 races, though, can it?
That would be tough.
That would be tough, yes, unless they combine 2 into 1. All right, so the first race we're going to do today is we're going to go races 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in the Epsom card. Yeah, first one up is
we're doing the group races, and I should point out that the race 2, which is the Derby, the reason they're doing it early in the card is because the FA Cup game is later with Manchester City and Manchester United, so that takes precedence over how people schedule their stuff.
Well, hey, you got to do what you got to do. So the first one coming up is the Betfred Diomed Stakes. Indeed, this one's going to be 1.5 miles furlong. So like 1 mile and like a 16th or something like that.
Yeah, roughly.
On the turf course. This one's going to start at approximately 7:50 a.m. if memory serves. Let me just double check. Yes, 7:50 a.m. Eastern. So make sure you set your sundials to that, Thomas.
Yeah, got to get your butt up if you want to watch this one.
Yes. Well, it depends on where you live, right? East Coast, not so bad. Over here in Midwest and out. So this one is going to be that mile and I'm going to say basically 1 mile and 114 yards. That looks like about where it's going to start here on our graph. They're going to go uphill, level out, come around this turn, run down the hill, up the hill to the finish line. In this case, Thomas, they run in the right direction. So from today's action, what did you see in terms of bias?
In terms of these races, it's been closers. Nothing in the front end is held up. And so mid-pack to dead last. The Oaks was won by a horse came from dead last. So I suspect we'll see the same trend because we are on a good to firm going, to say the least.
Mm-hmm. And as we saw from the weather, they
are watering, so it'd matter how much water they're putting down to make it the racing, palatable, if you want to put it that way.
As long as they don't forget to water the rail article that you sent.
Yeah.
All right. So what do you got in the Betfred Diomed Stakes?
I'm going to take number 2, Highland Avenue, is my top choice, who has draw 5. First race this season, I think it was a reasonable effort. It ran against stablemate Adaria, and it did 3rd out of 5, and it really just lost 2nd. It raced twice last year, did absolutely nothing, and those races were in Dubai. Much better 2021 season, so obviously had some issues. I'm going off that last race and how he came back, and he looks like he may have matured into an interesting horse. See. Number 5, Regal Reality is going to be my next choice. Has draw 6. He raced that same race. He ran 4th. The comment was interesting. He looked rusty. I don't know how a horse can look rusty, but nonetheless, he's been a group type runner. He's run against some of the best. Ryan Moore picks up this mount, and I think that if he does well here, you'll see him at Royal Ascot. And the final one I'm going to take is the least experienced of this bunch, and that's the number 6, Kosei. It has draw 2. This horse is moving up in class. It tried listed company in April and got caught at the end, so it's got some. It looks like it's going to be the pace setter in here. It could become a useful handicap horse. This may be a little above its level, but if it can stay and set a reasonable pace, I think it could be around at the end, and that's why I'm going to put it for 3rd.
I feel like there are a lot of holes in all those horses' races and question marks to be answered. So whenever that happens, I kind of feel like I got to reach for a little better odds. So I went with Marie's Diamond as my number 1 choice in here. Kind of been trending down, opened up at 16-1, up to 20-18, back to 16, now 14-1. Finished second by a neck in its last race, showing some pretty big improvement. And I'm going to go with our good friend Big Boopa's favorite handicapping angle of all, 3rd start after a layoff. Number 2, the Highland Avenue, second start today after more than a year on the sidelines. The first one, what'd you say, was kind of middle of the road, I thought, Tom. I didn't really see too much into it. Definitely been facing tougher horses. So if it can run to its class, probably lives up to those 5-4 odds. I just feel like after all that time off and the kind of 50-50 effort in that first race, it's going to absolutely have to improve here. And then I'm also on board with Regal Reality, the 5 horses, my final choice. And I'm going to get 3 today because Sean gets mad if I take 4 horses in 6 horse fields. Regal Reality is likely to be better. It is second start off the sidelines as well today. So 2, 4, 2, and 5 for me, hoping for the price in the first race. But we'll find out what the predictor has to say today, Thomas, about all this.
We do have that ultimate predictor.
Yes, so we have a 3rd member of the cast, and bam, Highland Avenue looks like it's going to be an easy winner here. Tom's Kosei, the youngster, lightly raced horse, coming in 2nd. Escobar right there, Imperial Fighter. So look at me, I picked the horse that's supposed to finish last and far off the far off the trail according to the predictor. So last week I was in line with the predictor. This week the predictor sucks. Well, maybe I do. We'll find out who it is that the suck designation goes to. Race number 2, Mr. Thomas, is the Betfred Derby, otherwise the Epsom Derby. They've changed the name here. This is a mile, 4 furlongs and 6 yards. It's a Group 1. As I mentioned, it is the 3rd leg of the 5-legged British Championship Series, the most expensive flat grass race in all of England. And that one is going to start all the way back here. And they're going to come uphill, then level out, then run downhill, uphill to the finish line. Tom, you expect once again that you'll see a closer come and win this one?
I would be very surprised if we didn't see a closer in this one. I don't see the front end of this race anybody holding up. And generally, and in the past, it's been a rarity. So the only thing I hope this time is they don't set off fireworks before the beginning of the race.
Why they
was pretty weird last year. I just thought, why are you doing this?
Should go after the race, right?
Yeah, well, that would make sense. But before,
especially in dry conditions, they might light the track on fire, which could be interesting to watch the horses run through fire. That would be a new twist.
Yeah, that would be like very interesting twist,
like a commercial for like a firehouse movie. But in any case, the Epsom Derby, Thomas, it's the big race. Who are your picks? I thought this was kind of wide open, to be honest with you.
It is. I think it is too. And with that, I went with number 2, Arrest, draw 13 is my top choice. It's a very honest running horse, the best way to describe him. He's got 5 races. He's been in the money in all of them. He's got 3 wins. First out this season was a win at Chester, Group 3 race. Nice win by 6.5. And his last race was at St. Cloud in the Criterium, which is a Group 1 top race for the 2-year-olds in France, and he lost to Dubai Mile, who's in this race. This will be Frankie Dettori's last ride in the Derby. He did win the Oaks today, and this is Gosden, and I think he's ready for a big effort. And the only thing my concern, of course, is going to be that post position. Mm-hmm. Number 14, White Birch, is going to be my next choice. Has draw 2 starts this season. He's got a win in a second. First race was on heavy going, and then he ran on good to firm going, so he really got the mixed bag of track conditions in his 2 starts. And this horse has started late, relatively speaking, in November. And the learning experience, they put him on the all-weather at Dundalk, and he won that. And he was sent off at 22-1, so probably nobody thought he had a chance. Colin Keane is going to be coming in from Ireland to ride this horse. And one of the comments I thought was very interesting on this was that probably not going to win the Derby, but it's one of these horses you better watch for the future. I'm going to watch him for today, but not to win, but to hit the board. Finally, I'm going to take number 8, Military Order, is my final choice. This has draw 9. His for the Derby was on the all-weather, going 1.5 miles in Lingfield, and he basically won it without too much trouble. And he was the favorite in that race. His first start was on the slow going, was at Newmarket, and he, by 4 lengths, he won that guy. So he's been able to run on both types of surfaces. They're using the all-weather as their prep. Last season he had 2 races that he won, and he ran 4th in a maiden to start out. So he's been hanging around there. But it was interesting. They moved him from a maiden race to a Class 2 race to get his maiden win. And then, of course, I should note that that horse that we talked about who beat Highland Avenue in the first race last time out, Adaria. Well, this is the horse who won the Derby in 2021. And he is the full brother of this horse.
Nice. Well, I'm going to start.
1.5 miles should not be a problem.
No, it doesn't sound like it. Again, I'm going to start with another horse, 14-1. I guess 14-1 is the theme for Rich today. 14-1 Rich instead of 22-1 Tom. I'm going to start with a 12 horse, the Foxes, coming off a grade 2 win. Feel like looking at the horse's form, feels like the longer the race, the better, and the horse is stretching out today. So I think that extra distance will suit the Foxes in the Derby. Military Order, the one that you liked also in there, Tom, ended up in my picks as well in the second spot for Military Order. Charles Appleby, William Buick. You've been around racing enough to know that combination is like Batman and Robin. I don't know which one's Batman and which one is Robin, but they're both a part of that team. Horses won 3 in a row. The lone race that he lost was in its debut race where it finished 4th. Interesting thing to note about that debut where it finished 4th, all the horses that finished in front of it came back to win. So you would circle that race as a key race then. Number 11, Spreewell. That the guy who said $20 million wasn't enough, right, Tom?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm sure winning this race, even though it's not worth $20 million, would be enough for their connections there. When you just look at this horse in its 3-year-old campaign relative to its 2-year-old campaign, it just looks like a completely different horse. And again, I feel like this is one where going a little bit longer is going to work to its benefit, especially in a race, the 3rd start after a layoff, where he should be most fit. And then the one you started with, Arrest, is where I'm going to finish because I get 4 picks in this race, Tom, without fear of angering Sean. Came off the bench.
A much bigger field. So, yeah, I can appreciate that.
Did come off the bench to smoke the competition, like you mentioned, by 6.5 lengths. And just kind of rewinding through the PPs, the past performances, you see the horse tends to improve in the second start after a layoff. So any improvement off that first one, and I'll probably wish I put 2 on top of Foxes. But let's see what the predictor says will happen in the middle leg of the British Championship Series. And it looks like, bang, Arrest is going to be, it looks like Tom was all over the.
I'm the chalk today.
He was the predictor plagiarizer this week. So you got Arrest is your winner. Military Order is your second place by a nose. Spreewell right in there, Latrell. The Fox is saying could show up for me in there at 14-1. White Birch and Passenger. It looks like a competitive race. And if you look at those odds, if it came in any of those orders, you're going to get paid kind of nicely on your exactas and trifectas.
Right now, the odds look very nice for this race. And if you can find the winner in here, you're doing a good job, because I had scratched my head a while for this one.
Yeah, I wrote down, I think in the 14 horse field, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I had 8 horses that I had to narrow down to 4. So I would probably look at the other 6 then, if you want to know where the winner is. That might be the best advice that we give all day. Next up on the card for us is the Princess Elizabeth Stakes. That is going to be race number 3, and it'll eventually show up on the screen here. The Princess Elizabeth Stakes, they're going to go 1.5 miles furlong again. So 1 mile and a 16th again, coming back up here, 1 mile and 114 yards. Up the hill, flattened out, down the hill, around the turn. We already talked about the likelihood that closers are where you're going to find your winners, Thomas. This is another short race. I only got 3 picks again. So who do you like?
I took number 2. Astro Bow is my top choice. She has draw 2. 2 races this season, and they've both been good races. Running first in a listed race, and then third in a Group 2 race at Newmarket. And both these races, really nice prices, 9-1 and 17-2. This is a horse that's jumping up in class from last season, where she was mainly racing in Class 4 type races. So she's now a black type horse, so that's always worth something. Winner. And it appears that this is a horse that from 3 to 4 made that maturity piece go. And it looks like, based on those results, getting 2 black types in 2 races is pretty impressive. Mm-hmm. And that's why I'm going to put her on top. Number 4, A Prosperous Voyage is going to be my next choice. Has draw 5. One good start, good run in a Group 2, finished 5th. It was okay. Ran the same race as my top choice. This horse's last race was on soft ground, but the notes say that this horse is much better on the good or good to firm ground. She is definitely a top class filly, and she beat Inspiral last year in a Group 1, which was a big upset. And so I definitely think she's the one to beat.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm going to pick one that I don't really know 100% what's going to happen. This is Potapova, who has draw 4, and the horse is number 3. Last time this horse was banned off the track, and the vets found that she had an irregular heartbeat. Well, that wasn't that long ago. I mean, she's a 5-year-old. She's kept great company. She's been in group races. I don't know what to make of her in this race. Is she going to be done after this one and go become a broodmare? If she doesn't do anything, I think that's very likely.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to start with the 4-horse Prosperous Voyage. Did run over this course one time, and it won. So maybe a horse for the course, but they don't run a whole lot of races here, right, Tom? I think they run like once a year here or something like that.
More than that. There's an earlier season meet, and then there's another time that they run. So it's not a super, but the Oaks have been run there since 1778. So the horse track has been used for a few hundred years.
Yeah, for a while. Yeah, it's about as old as Terry is. But anyway, the horse did get 1 trip over the track and did win that race. And I expect this one to be better in the second start after a layoff. And if you kind of dig through the past performances, you do see that the horse does like to run on a good surface. The 2-horse Astro Blue, the one that you got in there, is your top choice. Tom made it into my second spot for me. Again, a horse making the classic third start after a layoff, showing some improvement from race 1 to race 2. So let's see if the horse can continue on that trend. And then finally, this is a horse I feel like you have to have in your picks, Thomas, and that is the 6-horse Shara. This one is an all-or-nothing horse. It's run 7 times, Tom. It either wins 4 times or finishes off the board. And if today is one of those winning efforts for Jim Crowley and the Gatson crew, Godson crew, then you're going to get a nice price at 10-1. So anytime I see a horse that's all or nothing, they're absolutely my favorite horses to bet, Tom, because you tend to, because of the zeros,
Get all or nothing.
Right. Because of the bad performances, the bettors are reluctant to back them. But when you do back them, if you think about it, the horses won 4 out of 7 races, which that work out a little bit better than 50-50. So you're getting 10-1 odds. So if you bet it 7 times and it wins 4 times at 10-1, you won $40 and you lost on the other end 6. That's a hell of an ROI. I'll take that all day long. And let's see if maybe the predictor is predicting some good ROI today for number 6, Shara. And no, that horse is going to win by a mile. Roman Mist. And that's not a name that either one of us mentioned.
Nope, neither of us picked that horse.
No.
It was in my consideration, but I decided to go a different direction.
Well, maybe we should change our mind because this is about the biggest margin of victory. That's like Secretariat-esque for the predictor right there, Charles. Charles Thomas, have you ever seen one that big before?
No, I've not. I'm not on the predictor.
They're usually like within
unless it's a 1-horse race. Then
yes.
Then you could, yeah.
And we haven't seen any of those. Or we have seen some where there's horses that without any data and you get one horse that's way out there because there's no other horses that have data.
Yeah. Race
number 4 out of our 5 races at Epsom, before Tom shares with us his thoughts about the race in
Chantilly
in France. This one is the Aston Martin 3-year-old Dash. Now, don't be confused because the next race is also an Aston Martin Dash, but that one apparently isn't for 3-year-olds.
No, it's for 4 and older.
4 and older. JT, afternoon. Decent day yesterday. 1 win, 3 places. Going to stay on this side of the pond. All right. Few good turf plays today at Delaware. Race number 5, the 7. Trainer, please. At Belmont, race number 5, the 2, Linaret. Race 6 at Belmont, Regal Kingdom. Moving down I-95 to Pimlico. Number 4, Ballyhooly in race number 4. All these are 6-1 or higher on the morning line. So good luck with all them. And I can tell you, JT's usually pretty on spot with the turf plays. Is that what the T stands for? Turf?
Yeah, that makes sense to me.
Yeah, that's what we're going to go with. And this is another race, Tom, this 5 furlong dash on the Epsom course. So they're just going to run downhill and then uphill. So they can
hit the Tottenham corner and come home.
Yeah, and that looks to me like, that downhill. Maybe you can get off to a kind of like a jogging start and use the downhill to gather some momentum for that uphill dash. Does this short race, this little sprint, does it give the sprinters a chance or no?
Yeah, it does. The only comment I would put in here is that the ones on the inside posts tend to run a disadvantage because that turn comes really quick. So they got to get really good position. So I tend to not play those horses on the inside. So I try to stay outside.
This one looks like it's going to go straight across, though, Tom. Not a 6 furlonger.
That's okay. Got the wrong. That's 6 furlong is the one that.
The 6 furlong is that awkward one, but it looks like 5 furlong is just
5 is straight. I forgot.
Like a 100-yard dash in high school.
Mm-hmm. Well, we're not going to go 5 furlongs as quickly as they do if we try to run that.
Even if we were on a horse, I'd probably fall off too. So who do you got in this? What is it? 17 horses in this field, Tom? Something like that?
Roughly,
14.
Yeah, I think 7.
That's the next one I think has 17 in it. What do you got?
I want to take the longest shot on the board.
There you go. Tom finally being Tom. Been a few
Bird,
months.
Number draw 6. Definitely the longest shot on the board, in my opinion. But like many of these horses in this race, a lot of them have only won once. So you're not looking at a big group. So this horse won as a 2-year-old. They placed it in a Group 3 race, and it didn't do a darn thing. Finished last, but it was also racing against Trillium, who was a very, very good and very fast 2-year-old.
I remember that horse.
Yeah, and lay off now. They gelded it. Couple starts on the all-weather showed absolutely nothing. First start was okay. It's really. They run him on the all weather and the horse does absolutely nothing. But on the turf, he's been okay because he's got a win. He's running a group race, and his first start is his first start. I think this horse prefers the turf, and I think you can get a nice price here.
I think you will, 50-1.
Number 14, Zufalo is going to be my next choice. It's draw 10. Won a Class 5 last time out. It was after a really poor effort in the first start, and then 21 days later, it turned form around really quick. So they must have found something wrong that they corrected very quickly. I think that it's moving up in class to a class 3. It's moved around a little bit before. Again, I'm looking for a price, and I think you're definitely going to get that with this one. And finally, I'll go with more of a favorite, and that is number 7, Jim Jungle, who's my bungle in the jungle. And he has to draw 9.
Quick, who sang that? What band has Bungle in the Jungle as a song, Thomas?
I do not remember.
He's going to play up by you over there at Ravinia the year for the 50-year anniversary of the record Aqualung from Jethro Tull. Is that 50 years? Oh my Lord, where does time? Or maybe 40 years, but definitely a long time. Yes, but anyway, back to the Jethro Tull horse.
Yeah, this horse has done well in its last 3 races, finishing third, and second. And it's been on soft to good to good to firm. Handicap level of 3, 4, 3. I mean, so it's in this with this group. It's not winning. Don't like that. That's why I put it third.
All right. So I'm going to go. I think it's actually where I'm starting. Where you ended up, I think, is where I'm starting. I'm starting off with the Jethro Tull horse, Rumble in the Jungle. JM Jungle, 11-2. This one, if you just look through as I like to do, I just kind of like to look at the lines without looking at anything else and see how the horse looks, like the pattern. Sort of like looking at stock charts. And it looks to me like this horse is steadily improving. Been effective at these short sprints. Not really a winner. 7 times out, 1 win, 2 seconds, 3/3. But I got to also qualify that by saying when you look at the class rating for the races that these horses have been in, this one's probably been facing the toughest company. So maybe it'll move a little more towards that win column on Saturday. The 13 horse Estate gets the second nod for me. Ocean Murphy, Andrew Balding as the connections. It's another one when I just do my stock market scans. It is trending upwards, and another one that also been a big fan in these short sprints, 5 times out at the distance, a win a couple of seconds and a third. And when you look at the horse on a good surface, it's run some good races. So everything sets up nicely for Estate. Number 6, Tasterfall gets the third choice for me. Tasterfall, best races have been at 5 furlongs. It's got a W, I think, on the all-weather, and 2 of them on the grass were seconds by either a head or just a neck. So the horse should be very competitive. And then finally, Zufalo, the one that you like also, Thomas. I think we just like the name, Zufalo. Sometimes you just got to go with that gut feeling in the name, but did win its last race. And in the last 4 starts for this horse on a good surface, it's either finished 4th or 3rd. So I should have probably put it 1st or 3rd and not 4th. But if you add 1st and 3rd together, it equals 4th. So what the hell? It fits right where it should go.
You got it right where you want it.
Yes, indeed. Some numerology from Rich today. All right, so let's see what the predictor has to say. Let's see if we can be remotely close on this one compared to what we offered up in the last race. Oh, look at this one. Bam, 5 furlongs. Oh, there we go again, Thomas. A horse that neither one of us – is there any horse in here that we mentioned? Let's see. Can to Can. We didn't mention that one. Between the Sticks. Nope. Democracy Dilemma. Nope. Didn't do that one either. So we got Zufalo and Tatterstall. That's it. And none of the other horses even show up. Maybe we should start over with our picks, Tom.
Either that or we are a lot smarter than the predictor.
Well, I said at the beginning of the show last week, the predictor was great. This week it sucks. So I'm going to go with the predictor is broken this week. What do you think?
Well, I got a couple in and I have a couple way out. We'll see.
Hopefully the predictor is off a little bit this week. So we're going to go off to the last race that you and I are going to do together. And then Tom's got a little bonus for us at the end of the show for Chantilly over in France for Sunday. Again, back to 5 furlongs again. They're just going to run down that straight away, downhill, uphill. See who's the fastest to the finish line, Tom. And according to your analysis, the fastest to the finish line looks like it's going to be
number 1, Silky Wilkie.
How about I was just going to leave it there?
Has not had a break in its running. It's been running on the all-weather. It's been running on the turf, and it's had some decent success overall. Went out in a Group 3 race last time, ran 5th. He finished 2nd in another group race. I should rephrase that. He finished 5th in this race, but he ran on the wrong side. As you know, in some of these races, the horses split apart.
Mm-hmm.
And he ran on the far side, and that was not where you wanted to be that day. So the comment was you ran on the wrong side of the track. He finished 2nd in that group. So maybe this time he runs on the right side, so to speak. He'll get a better result. And I like the fact that this horse has won at this level once, and he's got 2 placings. So I think he's nicely placed to see what he can do in this race and run on the right side, I hope. My next choice is going to be number 9 with draw 16 is Ancient Times. First race this season was a decent 4th in a class 3. This horse appears to want good ground for better results, and this definitely would qualify that as that.
Mm-hmm.
He won at first asking last year at a class 4 handicap. Then he moved up to and won at a class 2 level. He has a nice record at going the distance of 10 starts. He got 3 wins and 2 placings. And the other thing is he's 1 for 1 at Epsom. So with that, getting 6-1, I would be very, very happy.
It looks like 10-1 right now.
Yeah, I'm going to be happy with 6 or anything 6. Anything below that, I think I'd probably stay off it.
All right.
Finally, I'm going to take number 11, Naval 2, with draw 5. Won at Thirsk, then came back and ran 3rd at Windsor in a 4-horse field. So definitely a horse that they feel is in form. That's why they're placing it here. It's going to get weight off again because you add weight when you win and you don't add weight, when you lose or you go up in class.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm thinking that this is the right level for it, and I'll give it a shot.
And then you're going to get a 6 again, except the 1 in front of it, 16-1. So 6s are across the board for Tom there. I like the Ancient Times, that 10-1 horse, Tom. You said 6-1 would do. I'll take 10-1, though, if they want to give it to me now. 1 for 1, as you mentioned, at the track. So I do like the fact that the horse does have a trip across the track and did so successfully. It's another horse that usually improves in the second start after a layoff. I like that. And also like the fact that it runs well on a good track. We'll get that tomorrow as well. Number 3, I think I was really debating putting this one first. Clarendon House as my top pick.
Should be the favorite.
Yeah, 9-1. I mean, that's a pretty light favorite, I think, right?
Yeah, it's going to be the favorite is going to be 5-1 in my opinion in this race.
So looking at this horse, last time out, first race after a layoff, got off to a dingy start, went ahead and still closed pretty well, but that's not its normal running style. Usually it's more mid-pack or a little bit forward, which is where I expect to see today a little bit better break. And then with that bit better break, should be able to take advantage of those late legs and come home. And again, it was a real tough call between the 3 and the 9 for me. I'm going to go all the way to the outside for the next 2. And number 7, well, not all the way to the outside. Well, there's a 20-horse race, man. So if you get the exact or trifecta in this one, you're going to get paid. You got Holly Doyle and David Evans together as a team on Lihu. This one has won 9 races, and I'm kind of surprised at 14-1. I know there's been like a mix, a couple of horse races on the turf, a bunch of other ones on the all-weather track, but every single one of the last 9 were what you would define as a high-quality race, always close at the end. Why not again? And then finally, the last one, number 4, Mukatil, 14, excuse me, Mukatil. Mukatil is another one of those horses that you just have to put in your picks at Epsom. Ran there a handful of times, Thomas, 5 of them. Brought home the big check 3 times. No seconds, no thirds. So another one of those all or nothing horses where you're going to get nice odds at 11-1. If it's an all performance, you've got a winner at a nice price. So 9, 30, 17, and 14 to close out my Epsom picks, to close out our Epsom picks on the Derby day. But we have one more crack at the predictor to see if we can find any winners. If the predictor can be
get those dice out.
The least bit agreeable. Oh, another close race here. Bam! Clarendon House. Yeah, there's the one I had in there. The Thin Blue Line. Neither one of us mentioned that one.
Mm-hmm.
Novello. I think you mentioned that one, right?
Mm-hmm.
Silky Wilkie. That was your top pick.
Yep.
Zarzini. I don't think either one of us mentioned that one or came from the dark. So we have a little bit of hope, according to the predictor.
Yeah, we can cross our fingers. Maybe we get one of those into the money.
Yes. We're sort of like Jim Carrey in Dumb and Dumber. You're saying we have a chance.
We do.
All right, Tom. So you have one more for us. What race
Sure.
are we
Well,
talking
first
about
of all,
Sunday?
you can find when you want to find these races. If you click on Sunday the 4th on the Racing Post website.
All right, hold on a second. I'm on the Racing Post website. Let me get off of the predictor, because the predictor doesn't want to do that to me. So
No,
Sunday. All right, here's
Sunday the
Sunday.
4th. And if
And
you go
then
down on there, you'll see Tokyo, you'll see Châtel,
I got it right here, Chantilly.
Dusseldorf, and you'll see Chantilly.
So we're going for this one right here, the QATAR Prix du JOCKEY Club. How about that? Did I get that right?
Oh, and yes, and it's also called the French Derby.
All right, the French Derby. We'll go with that one. That's
Jockey
a little bit.
Club. Yeah, this is their big race, and this is run a mile and a quarter roughly, and it's a rich race over 1.5 million pounds, which is
I thought you were saying I owned it.
7 million.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's a big race, 2,100 meters. This is a race that, like the Kentucky Derby, which is the first day in May. Well, this is the first Sunday in June.
Mm-hmm.
So, guess what date it is?
Be the first Sunday in June, Thomas. Good guess.
Wonderful. With that, I'm going to take number 5. Feed the Flame is my top choice. Number 6, Draw. Undefeated in 2 starts, both at Perry Longchamp at 10.5 and 11 furlongs. It was on the good to soft and very soft goings for those races. Appears to be a really top horse, and I think the move of the jockey is very interesting on this. He got off American Flag, who did absolutely nothing in the French Guineas, but had done very well prior to that to ride this horse. So he must know something, or he's been under something that he feels is a very strong horse.
Mm-hmm.
My next choice is going to be number 11, Big Rock, who has draw 2. He's won the last 4 races, including wins at Chantilly, Enlisted and Group 3 Company. He's won on both the turf and the all-weather. He's been winning by at least 2.5 lengths or more. So what's the difference from as a 2-year-old to a 3-year-old, you would say? And, well, the difference is he changed trainers.
Got the good hay.
Christopher Head took over, and he's won on all those 4 races that he's run them. So favorite, got to think about that one. I think it could be the favorite. Finally, I'm going to take number 9, Continuous Draw. It has draw 1. Both races as a 2-year-old were at 6 and 8 furlongs, and they were okay. First start, it was at York this year in a Group 2. It ran 3rd to the Foxes, one that you like. Derby on Saturday. So it'll be interesting to see how that performs there. To maybe gauge a little on this one. But he was in that race. He was only a length and a half back, so he was right there. Distance seems to suit correctly, and Aidan O'Brien, instead of running him in the Epsom Derby, he's going to run him over in France. And Ryan Moore will be flying in to take the reins, so to speak. I think it's got a nice chance in this race. Or
taking that train under the channel. You've seen that?
Yeah.
The train that they use with magnets, I guess, to get it across underneath there, the newer one.
The Maglift, yeah.
Let's see if the predictor works here or not, Thomas.
No
predictor. No, so you are the predictor for this race, Tom.
Yeah, well, to point out, if you want to look at these other races that are there in Tokyo, that's the Asi Kin. That's a very big race, and it's going to have 18 runners. If you want to try to figure that one out. Of course, Châtel we all know about. And the Dusseldorf race is their version of the German 1,000 Guineas, which is a Group 2 race for fillies.
So a really big weekend of European racing.
You can bet on most of these races in this country. So if you're interested, pop them on, take a look, and see if you can figure them out.
Yeah, so racingpost.com. One of the things that you can do, too, and this is where I do it real quick, if you go to Google, and I know that Hollywood puts this in there. So you put in, do I have free international? No, let's see. International horse racing past performances. So if you put in international, the first one in there is Hollywood races. You'll see in there, and I link to these usually in our recap over at horseracingtoday.net. They have a lot of the past performances in here are available for free. If you register for Brisnet or DRF, they usually give them away. So for example, for June 3rd, tomorrow, If you look to see, we just did Epsom. Where is Epsom on here? Is it even in here? I don't even see if I see it anywhere, but there it is. So you can use these as well. I use the ones from Brisnet, but you can get them for free over there at Hollywood International. Just Google International Free Pass Performances, and then you'll see that Hollywood, and they got a whole bunch of them there too. So Racing Post, some there at Hollywood, give you a little bit of information as you try to figure out some of these races where maybe there's not as much information as we are accustomed to available.
Well, the information is a little different. If you go to use the Racing Post download, those have comments and descriptions of the races. So you can look through that and get some idea. They also put notes about breeding especially when you're looking at 2-year-olds. Which can be helpful, especially when you're looking at Royal Ascot and the 2-year-old races, and you're going, do I bet Wesley Ward or do I bet somebody else?
Yeah, usually, going with Wesley's not a bad idea.
No, it is not.
Speaking of which, we'll be doing the Royal Ascot. We're going to try to get up early in the morning and do it day of, or maybe we'll do it the night before. Tom and I haven't quite hammered that out. That's in a couple of weeks. But before we get to that, Tom, what are we thinking about for next week?
Well, we're Belmont is next week, right?
Belmont. So we're going to take off on Friday.
We'll take the Belmont off. But the week after, we do have some good racing available to us. We have the Irish, some Irish racing we could look at. We could also go to France. The PRIX de Diane is run on the 18th. That'll be that Sunday. And I know Gosden and Dettori are going to be with a horse there. One of the ones that decided today that she didn't want to run. She got nicked on the gate, and they opened the back of the gate, and she took off.
See, I'm not interested.
O'Sheen Murphy got off, and he's like very disgusted because that was like the third choice in the Oaks race. So they opened the gates, and that one was not in it when they opened the gates.
It's obstinate today. I'm not running today. That's it.
No,
we won't be running next week.
Just a little bit of a nick, but the Diane is a race that's only 16 days away. So yeah, it's a bit of a turnaround, quick. But if that horse is sound and there's nothing wrong with it, I would be very surprised they don't ship it over. And of course, there'll be some other decent horses in that race too.
As you mentioned, next week is Belmont Stakes week, so we will have a wagering guide over at Guaranteed Tip Sheet. So you can also head over to Guaranteed Tip Sheet. Plenty of links over at horseracingtoday.net. Also in our descriptions on our YouTube channel. If you haven't done so, kindly please hit the subscribe button. Thumbs up. Thank you, Beverly Taylor, Honey Bunny. We appreciate the love, even though we joke at Terry's expense, but we only joke with the ones we love. And then next week, speaking of Terry, he and I will be back on Monday for Parks, Tuesday for Parks, Wednesday. Probably going to do Horseshoe Indianapolis or maybe Delaware with Charles. On Thursday, we'll get ready for Belmont by doing Belmont, Charles and I. And, of course, it'll be the Belmont on the weekend. And then we'll be back.
And a couple other races of note on that card.
Oh, yes. It's going to – I mean, I think there's plenty of stakes racing this weekend. I think there's 18 stakes races tomorrow too. So the summer racing is heating up. And then when Belmont closes, of course, Saratoga, Del Mar. So you get all the marquee stuff with the better weather. All right, Tom, that wraps it up for today. Any final thoughts for the Epsom Derby going back to 1790? Anything that you can add to its history, Tom?
Not really, except I've won it occasionally, and generally I'm running in the back of the field. So hopefully I'll do a little better this time around, and we'll see if the Frankie Dettori World Retirement Tour continues to win classic races. He's already got 2 of them. So he won the Guineas and he won the Oaks today. So nabs the Derby. That would really be a kind of coup for him.
Yes, indeed. The double to go home on. Well, we certainly, no matter what you're doing today, whether you're home, you're at work, whether you're just hanging out in the beautiful weather like we have here in Chicago, finally, that you certainly have God's grace, God's favor, and that every single pick from track to track, from work, wherever, ends up in one place, Tom.
Only one place, the winner's circle.
Indeed. Thanks for joining us as always. Look forward to getting back together again. As always, have a fantastic day.